The Record Store Day list dropped, and I've kind of fallen off the Record Store Day train a little bit just because the quality of releases hasn't been there, but wow, actually a really solid list, much better than I've expected, much better than in previous years. Kind of something for everyone, great jazz, metal, rock, pop releases. I'm going to see a lot of different people at Record Store Day this year, I think, and even just going through the list on an initial look, I mean, usually it takes a few weeks. You hear about things here and there. You got to read a bunch of descriptions. Labels will kind of talk about their own individual releases, but even just off the hop, reading the list for the first time, I saw tons of stuff that I'm definitely excited about, and I think a lot of other people are going to be excited about too. So I put together a list of 15, 16-ish records that I'm really excited about for this upcoming Record Store Day. Let's go. So these are going to be in alphabetical order. The first record that I'm really excited about is Chet Baker's Chet. So this is going to be put out by Craft Recordings. This is a Record Store Day exclusive, meaning that Record Store Day is the only time that you're going to be able to purchase this record. What's cool about this record is that Craft, a couple of years ago, reissued all of the Chet Baker albums that he recorded for Riverside Records. They were like $29, AAA reissues by Kevin Gray. They were amazing. They've kind of been in and out of print. Word's gotten around. They sound amazing, and they're such a good value for what you get. However, they're all in stereo, and this is the mono cut of Chet. This is a very accessible, very nice, easy listening jazz record. I think that casual fans might really dig this, but also hardcore jazz vinyl enthusiasts are probably going to be excited because there's definitely a shortage of classic jazz albums available in mono, so I think a lot of people are going to be excited, including me. So we have Beach House with the Become EP. So Beach House, the Baltimore, Maryland dream pop duo, put out a ton of excellent records, including last year they put out an awesome double album called Once Twice Melody. So they're putting together a compilation. They're calling it an EP, but it's songs that were unreleased from the sessions that they recorded that album for, which was a dynamite record. So I'm a huge fan of the band. This is a Record Store Day first on crystal clear vinyl, so I will definitely try and get this one as well. Another one that I think is going to be really cool, it's the Black Keys live at Beachland Tavern 2002. So this is a Record Store Day exclusive record. It's to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Black Keys. They recorded their first ever show, which is kind of cool. Who knows how good or bad it's going to sound. Hopefully we learn a little bit more and we find that the source is actually kind of decent, but I could expect this to really sound crappy. In that case, I probably wouldn't want to buy it, but it sounds promising so far. Tons of their best songs from the time period. Busted, Do the Rump, I'll Be Your Man, The Moan. Really cool when they were just like a really early kind of gritty garage rock duo, which is a very cool time period. I know that a lot of people don't like the later stuff, but they really dig those early albums. So I think that could be something that appeals to a lot of garage rock type fans. Next we have Miles Davis Turnaround, unreleased tracks from the On the Corner session. So On the Corner was one of his awesome kind of jazz fusion albums. Had a kind of a revolving cast of musicians, including like Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, John McLaughlin. One of his best albums. I think a lot of people are kind of starting to gravitate towards it, realize how awesome some of his early to mid 70s stuff was. And all the Miles stuff that they put up for Record Store Day is usually really awesome, so I think this should be no exception. It looks like it's a one disc set, but there's not a lot of details available yet, but it should probably be pretty good, just comparison to all the other stuff that's been put out of his for the special Record Store Day days. One that I'm really excited about, it's Dive live at the Murmur Theater, Record Store Day exclusive record, which is an acoustic album by kind of a bit of a dream pop, droney indie band. Very cool band. They had an awesome record about 10 years ago called Ocean, and still one of my favorites to this day. I don't know if I've heard how these songs will sound in their acoustic format, so this could be a really cool kind of sleeper title for kind of early 2010s indie fans like me. A cool metal title, it's Dio live in Fresno 1983, Record Store Day exclusive, and mixed from the original multi-track tape, so hopefully it's a great sounding record. What I think is cool about this is Dio on the Holy Diver tour, which a lot of his fans consider that one of his most iconic albums. But in addition to playing tracks from that record, you get some Black Sabbath hits as well, so I think this is going to be a really cool album. If you're a diehard fan of the Talking Heads, there are at least three that I noticed on the list. 3 Talking Heads related releases. David Byrne's The Catherine Wheel's getting the full score is going to be released as a 2 LP set. Jerry Harrison is getting a reissue of his first solo album, The Red and the Black. It comes with a bonus record. But the one I think is the most interesting is that the Tom Tom Club self-titled album is going to be getting properly reissued. I have not seen this in print for years outside of a few kind of random colored variants put out here and there. Such a good album, very hard to find though in good condition, so such an important album to the history of pop, R&B, and hip-hop music, and just like an essential album if you love the Talking Heads as well. So cool that one's actually going to be released again. It looks like sounds like it's going to be an analog cut, and there's an LP of bonus stuff as well. So I have a copy, a Japanese pressing, but I might even be in the market if the price is right. Another cool jazz title from the Candid Reissue series. It's the Jazz Artists Guild, the Newport Rebels. So this record has Charles Mingus, Max Roach, Eric Dolphy. Very, very interesting kind of hard bop jazz that at times is a little bit softer, more laid back, at other times a little more intense, a little bit more forward. These records from this series to me sound fantastic. Bernie Grunman's been cutting them. The ones that I own sound awesome. A couple came out last year for Record Store Day Black Friday. I picked both of those up. They both sounded really good. We're getting to hear a lot of these cool Charles Mingus records that haven't had a lot of attention before, so I kind of love it for that, and I'll definitely try and pick this one up. It's a colored variant, which I believe they'll put out a black version later on, but yeah, these are awesome. They're pretty cheap as well. These are around $30 for, yeah, a AAA reissue record cut by Bernie. So yeah, it's a good deal. Possibly the greatest Record Store Day release of all time. Unfortunately, it is a regional focus. Who knows what region is going to be lucky enough to get this, but it is Be a Man by Macho Man Randy Savage. That is right, the wrestler. Ooh, Macho Man. Yeah, anyway, he apparently recorded a rap album in 2005, and it's getting a vinyl reissue. What the hell? How did I not know this existed, but why are they putting this on vinyl? I am prepared to buy this, listen to it one time, think it's terrible, and put it on my shelf forever. It's available on Spotify if you feel like putting yourself through it, but if I have the opportunity to buy this, there's no way that I can pass up the opportunity to have an album by Macho Man Randy Savage in my collection. So if you have the ability to buy it, please do. If I was to guess, I think that there are 2 clear standout records that are going to be the most talked about, most sought after, probably the most purchased. One of them is Stevie Nicks' Belladonna Live. So they're pressing 10,000 of these, so I think that a lot of people will be able to get this. However, in addition to tracks from Belladonna, there's a bunch of classic Fleetwood Mac tracks. I think this is going to appeal to a lot of people. Hopefully the sound quality is really good. It's being done by Rhino. It is an exclusive Record Store Day release, so I think I'll be trying to grab this one. Just another great album. Hopefully a really good set. Yeah, it sounds really, really promising. One that I am super excited about, it's Jonathan Richman's Jonathan Goes Country, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is Jonathan Richman of the Modern Lovers doing kind of more country songs. Some of them are covers, some of them are originals. He has like members of Buck Owens' band play on this thing, but it's just like a super fun, super quirky album. It actually really suits his kind of style. This has been out of print since 1990. One of those albums that kind of came in that dead space between when records stopped being pressed and kind of cassettes and CDs were fighting out for the top spot. So copies of this record are worth like over $100. AAA reissue done by Kevin Gray from the original tape. So an audiophile version of a really cool album. I think that this is one I'm definitely going to be trying to grab. I always love about Record Store Day these long out of print records getting reissued or stuff that's never been on vinyl before. And something that I think is kind of cool is the Sisters of Mercy, the Reptile House EP, which has been out of print for 40 or so years. They're reissuing it on Smoky Vinyl. For goth fans, I think this is going to be one that you'll want to check out. What I'm anticipating to be the hottest release of Record Store Day this year, Taylor Swift, the Long Pond Studio Sessions on Double Gray Vinyl. So when Taylor Swift was the Record Store Day ambassador last year, I think a lot of people were expecting there to be a release of this caliber, but of a single that had been available for like over a year at that point. So I think some people were disappointed. That still didn't stop people from going and buying that record in droves. It's like over $100 on Discogs for a 7-inch record, but this is a lot more interesting. They're live in the studio cuts of songs from Folklore, so it should sound really good. I think this is from the documentary that they did about that album. They haven't announced numbers of how many of these they're going to press, but I'm guessing they're just pressed as many as they possibly could. I'm sure this is going to be worth hundreds of dollars. Flippers are going to have a field day as well as Swifties, so it's going to be a weird kind of mix trying to fight for this one, but I think this is going to be the one that causes the most kind of controversy and the most buzz around Record Store Day this year. An awesome record that I'm very happy is going to be back in print is The Sword, Gods of the Earth for its 15th anniversary. So this is just an awesome, crushing, stoner rock, thrash metal record with like mythology lyrics, just like such a good album. They did, for a couple Record Store Days ago, they did the 15th anniversary of their debut album, Age of Winters, which sounded great, it looked great. Really, really good metal album that's quite accessible, so I think that this is one that, even though I own an original pressing of it, I don't know if I'll be able to help myself. I might have to grab this one as well. This appears to be a Canada exclusive, and I'm pretty excited about it, but it's Sum 41's Chuck for its 20th anniversary. So a lot of people still think of Sum 41 as just being kind of a silly band that had some quirky singles in like the early 2000s, but the older I get, I listen back to these albums, they are awesome, like pop punk, power pop songwriters, and Chuck was a super dark album. It's been out of print for a long time. This one's going to be on limited edition colored vinyl, and it says that it's coming with a poster signed by the band. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but that would be really cool. I picked up Does This Look Infected, which came out for Record Store Day Black Friday 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and it sounded really good. It was on this very weird, like swampy green-orange vinyl, so I'm expecting another high-quality release, and sorry anyone who is outside of Canada who can't get their hands on it, because it'll probably go for a lot of money in the secondary market. And the last one that I've picked that I'm excited for is a box set, which sometimes are really expensive, so we'll see how much it costs before I really properly get excited, but it's Nuggets, which is like artifacts of the first era of psychedelic rock or whatever it's called, but it's going to be a 5-record set. People have talked forever about how good the first Nuggets compilation album is. I've listened to it, and it's been a few years since then, but I remember being really blown away by just the quality of this compilation. I think it's hard to find though, so they're going to be doing the original 2 LP set, 2 LPs for what was supposed to be a second version or a second volume, and then an LP of songs that were originally considered for the first Nuggets compilation that's going to be on a 5th disc. So I think this is going to be a really interesting compilation. I'm a bit of a casual psychedelic rock fan, so I think this is going to be a really nice kind of entryway where I can discover some of these bands and how they sound and see if I want to buy some of their other stuff or dive into their catalogs, especially because of how expensive kind of cool psychedelic rock records really are. So that is my list. I'm pretty excited for Record Store Day this year, and I know that there's definitely a lot of titles that I probably missed, so let me know down below if there's some stuff that maybe I haven't dug into, I should look into before April so that I can maybe pick them up myself. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.